This week in the open mic universe, we are 2 weeks away from Backlash. We would kick things off on Raw with main event Jey Uso in singles action taking on Tonga Loa, one half of the WWE Tag Team Champions. And this rivalry, this feud, has really kind of gone down a pretty dark road. And I think a lot of it probably has to do with the fact that family's involved. And when you have family and there's that family dynamic kind of interwoven in this, we kind of see it go to another level, and that's what we've seen here. Obviously, Tama Tonga Loa, in a very, very short period of time, have found some success. They walked out of WrestleMania as the new WWE Tag Team Champions, but you know that Jimmy and Jay would love nothing more than to try to find a way to take those belts from them at Backlash. After Jay got the victory, the Usos would bring a chair into the ring to try to do some further damage, but Tama Tonga would come in and make the save. And again, we've seen the Usos get a little bit of revenge in small doses, but you know that their goal, their ultimate revenge, is going to be to try to find a way to take those WWE Tag Team titles away from their cousins at Backlash. Then we had Ilya Dragunov taking on Tommaso Ciampa. Dragunov would hit the H-bomb, hook the leg, and get the 1-2-3 to come away with the victory here on Raw. Then it was Sami Zayn, who is scheduled to face Gunther at Backlash, would meet Ludwig Kaiser here on Raw. And both guys with a pretty solid performance. Kaiser trying to maybe impress the leader of Imperium, Gunther. And Sammy at the same time still trying to work off a little bit of ring rust after being out of action for as long as he was. But he would connect on the Haluva kick, roll over Kaiser, and get the win. And you knew this wasn't going to sit well with Gunther. And Gunther not only came out and attacked Sammy, but also delivered a little bit of a punishment punch to Ludwig Kaiser. Not a very happy ring general here on Raw. And there might be some further consequences for Kaiser's inability to get the job done against Sami Zayn. Then to close out the night, we had Shayna Baszler attack Becky Lynch. These two will meet as Shayna challenging for the WWE Women's Championship at Backlash. And Shayna trying to get a little bit of an advantage, a little bit of a leg up. But Becky would respond. And as Raw was going off the air, these two would trade blows up on the stage. Then it was time for Nitro, as we would kick things off with Dragon Lee taking on Logan Paul. Logan, on his free agent showcase tour, will take on the former WCW television champion and pick up the victory. And it'll be interesting to see where Paul lands with the draft coming up after Backlash. Then Raquel Rodriguez would attack Zelina Vega and kind of soften her up for Chelsea. Chelsea would gladly take advantage of the assist from Raquel. And we're going to see these two again at Backlash. Maybe this will be the end of the feud. I don't know. It's been a pretty nasty one as they continue to attack each other. Then, coming off the heels of last week's assist by Kurt Angle and Chad Gable, the Creeds this week would come out and kind of get the jump on the WCW Tag Team Champions. It has been reported that Brutus and Julius are the latest, the newest recruits to join Team Angle. And they'll actually have a match against the New Day for the WCW Tag Team Championships at Backlash. And definitely a more aggressive style from the Creeds. And I think a lot of that can be attributed to joining up with Kurt and Gable. And just like last week, the Creeds would get the victory against the New Day. by countout, back-to-back countout wins. But again, fact still remains, Backlash, the Creeds will challenge for the WCW Tag Team Championship. Then we had Dirty Dom taking on Sheamus. Dom, who heads to Backlash, he'll take on the WCW Cruiserweight Champion Santos Escobar. And Escobar making an appearance here, kind of distracting Dom, which allowed Sheamus to roll Dom up and get the victory, as if this rivalry needed any more fuel added to the fire. Santos not only happily added it, but also lit the match to close out Nitro. And then we had Thunder. In our opening match, we would see Natalya taking on another of those free agents that's kind of making the rounds between the WWE shows and WCW, Naomi. And Naomi looking to make a statement, kind of impress the WCW officials to maybe look at adding her to the roster at the draft. But Natalya would slap on the sharpshooter and get Naomi to tap out. Then we had Otis taking on Big Bronson Reed. Otis, just a mess since what he thought was his mentor, Chad Gable, turning on him when he not only joined Team Angle, but also kind of viciously attacked Otis last week. And after Otis would fall to Big Bronson Reed, to add insult to injury, Chad Gable would come out and kind of torment Otis even more. You got to wonder what Otis's headspace is going to be when these two meet at Backlash. Then we would see another attack by Tiffany Stratton on Tegan Nox. Tiffy just cannot let go of not only what happened at the Royal Rumble, but also what happened at WrestleMania in the China Memorial Battle Royal. And she is taking every opportunity she can to remind Tegan of how unhappy she is at being eliminated by Tegan on 2 occasions now. And credit to JC Jane, as she would take advantage of the assist provided by Tiffany Stratton. But Tegan would eventually get a slight window, and she would crawl through that window and would put JC down for the count of 3 and get the victory here on Thunder. Then in our main event, we would see our WCW television champion, Shinsuke Nakamura, taking on AJ Styles, and AJ, who will get a rematch at Backlash for his WCW World Heavyweight title against Despicable Ray. Ray would come out at the start of this one wanting to maybe scout his opponent, get a closer look. So the champ would come down and take a seat over at the announce table and watch this match go. And we've seen Nakamura and AJ in action before. Both guys always deliver. It's always a hard-hitting match, and this one was no exception. But of course, you had to know that Despicable Ray was going to stick his nose in the middle of this one. He would jump in and attack AJ. And when that happened, the referee would call off the match. And it wouldn't end there, as Ray would continue the attack and look to do further damage to AJ and possibly put AJ Styles in a position to where he won't even make it to Backlash. We closed out the week with SmackDown. We started off with a fatal 4-way between Asuka, Piper Niven, Zoe Stark, and Jade Cargill. All 4 of these ladies kind of at different places on the WWE roster. Piper, who we saw had a great Royal Rumble, had a great Elimination Chamber, came so close. She was the last one eliminated by Becky. Asuka, obviously, our women's Royal Rumble winner. Didn't go so well for her at WrestleMania. Zoe still looking for those opportunities. And then also Jade, who last year, Jade had a great year. She won our first China Memorial Battle Royal. but it's kind of sputtered out a little bit. Didn't really do too well this year at it. But Piper picks up the win. And you got to think all four of these ladies not only are trying to show the officials from the WWE, but also WCW that, hey, I might be somebody that you need to spend one of your draft picks on. Then we would see Ricochet taking on Butch. And again, Ricochet would get a visit by the ghost of Christmas Pain as Bobby Lashley again would show up, deliver a spear to Ricochet, and then just kind of nonchalantly exit the ring. And Butch would crawl over, drape his arm over the unconscious Ricochet, and Butch would get the win. Then we would see Joe Coffey make his WWE debut. We saw last week on Raw, his brother Mark and Wolfgang made their debut and came away with the victory against Los Lotharios. This week on SmackDown, Joe taking on Johnny Gargano, and he would get the victory here in his first match in WWE. Then it was time for the main event. And we would see our WWE World Heavyweight Champion helping out the referees and pulling double duty here, as he would be the special guest referee in the main event match between our Intercontinental Champion Randy Orton and LA Knight's opponent at Backlash, the Tribal Chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns. And we saw LA Knight did a pretty good job calling this one down the middle. Eventually, though, Paul Heyman would distract LA Knight. They would have some words. And then Reigns accidentally sent into LA Knight, and that would kind of change how Knight would call the rest of the match. Very slow count there, and then Orton hits the RKO, and LA Knight wastes no time with the 1-2-3. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below.